For me, one of the most important parts of the golf swing is the release movement. And you could, it's quite a broad term, isn't it? The release of the golf club. Because you could be talking about the wrist angles and the change in angle through impact. I'm actually going to be focusing on the part of the golf swing just post impact. So when the club is at parallel to the ground after we hit the golf ball. And this is a really important part of the golf swing. You cannot hit shots and stop at impact, but knowing where you are just post impact tells you a lot about your impact position, and impact is what matters. You'll see loads of different golf swings out there from elite golfers, but they all look very similar here. Now, what are the common faults I see that stop people releasing the golf club correctly? And often people go, well, why would you show me the wrong? I think you have to understand the right and the wrong to be able to change these motions. So for me, too many golfers, their head and chest stays down too long, under rotates. Their body is often too low is another fault. I see a lot of flex in this lead knee, and often players' head staying down. And what these faults tend to cause is more of a handsy kind of flick through impact. What do we want to see? The body rotating and rising correctly to put the club in that position. So we've got to move our body good through impact by rotating our hips and our torso and allowing our lead side to extend or straighten, rising effectively to be able to hit this position. So let's just talk a little bit about that position. If I just put, and this is going to be a drill I'm going to get you to do, if I put a cane on the ground parallel to my target line, in line with about the middle of my shoe, my lead shoe, so I'm hitting to the camera here. What I'd like to see when the club is parallel to the ground is I would like to see the club pretty much on that white line, that tall stick that I've put on the ground here.
Here's what I found.
Got Siri getting involved. I'd like to see the club on that line. I'd like to see my lead leg straight. I'd like to see my head and chest rotated. And I'd like to see the toe of the golf club pretty much straight up in the air. Now, the reason I'm a little bit vague on that is the exact position you will need will depend on where that club face is pre-impact. If you've got the club face more open, so that's where the club face at last parallel here is pointing a little bit more skyward bound, you're going to need a slightly more active release through impact with the hands and the arms. Now, what I'd like to see is the club face more matching my back angle, my spine angle. As I turn, as I rotate, and as I rise here, you'll start to see the toe of the golf club pretty much straight up in the air, this leading edge vertical. That would be my preference at this position. So we're trying to get our body to move correctly through impact by rising. Too many golfers are still under the impression they've got to keep their head down or look at the ball. And this is often why we don't shift pressure, and we often see golfers struggling with heavy, fat golf shots. We are not here. We need to be here. It's a dynamic motion. It's a moving motion. In fact, I should do it with that cane on the ground. For me, one of the best warm-ups you can do is start with some quarter swings, then build into half, then 3/4. And why wouldn't you work on this release motion here? Okay, so that was a little ground first. What can I do? Push up more, rotate and rise a little bit earlier through impact. There we go. You hear the difference. Look at my position through impact. My chest feels like it's pointing at the club. My chest has moved up and rotated. You can always do an exercise. Put the club into your sternum. Get it pointing straight out in front of you. Now, when I tilt forwards, this will start to point down to look at where the golf ball would be. What I want to see through impact is this starting to rise. And I'm not going to try and cheat and do it with my hands rising here. I want to do it with my chest rotating and rising. So even just getting used to this motion. Or another simple exercise, put my lead hand out. Try and get my trail hand to my lead hand. So I've got to feel like this club is moving up. The reality is the lowest point, and if you're not new to my channel, you'll have heard me go on about this quite often. But I think it's so important. The lowest point of my hands is before I hit the golf ball. The handle should be rising into impact. not only will help us strike the ball correctly, but it's a big power source. As the handle is rising, the club head will accelerate to try and align. So it's a big power source. Start with quarter swings, build up. So I'm just going to go into a half. But again, I'm trying to hold this position. Now you see, because there's more speed, I ended up going a little bit longer through, but I got very much the same body position and structure of my arms post-impact. See that? Body is rising, body is rotating. It's such a good way to start. Now this video with the release could have been about the angles of the wrists and the downswing, at what point release them here. I'm not going to cover that in this video. Rather than overcomplicate it, I'm going to put a link just here talking about the down cock of our wrists in the downswing. So check that one out as well. Here I'm really going to focus on the body position through impact. So once I've done some of those, let's go on to more of a 3/4. I just want that same sensation. Rotate and rise. Such a powerful move. I'm not worried about the direction just the second. I'm just trying to get that quality of strike. And you can see for a 3/4 swing, going about 170 with a 7-iron there, really happy. Really got that movement. Now you could focus this on a number way. You might just think about your lead shoulder moving up and behind you. You may think about the head turning. You may think about the left leg or lead leg extending. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Whatever suits you. But let's not get here. Flex knee, let's really allow that body to rotate and rise. It's such a key part, and if you're good just post impact, chances are you're pretty blooming good at impact. So it's so important for quality of strike, for speed and power production as well. If the video does help, smash the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content just like this.